growth camp for the opportunity. I'll quickly share my screen. Just before we dive in, trust we had a great week, a productive one, not a stressful one. A moment, please. I don't know if you can see my screen. Just to confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can. I can see your screen.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. From strategy to scale, how to build a marketing engine that grows. From the conversation we've had earlier in the introductory conversation, I realized most persons here are in like the marketing space, and this section, what this section will do for us is it will bring structure to your day-to-day activities, even as a marketer, even if you're not a marketer, even if you're in between, to bring structure to generally helping you scale, your brand, your business, right? So what's a marketing engine? A marketing engine is in a nutshell, it's a system that keeps things afloat. It's you putting structure to your marketing, right? So most times campaigns are running, content are going out, even some ads. I know some ads are live now, right? Results are coming in, but they are not so consistent. So the marketing engine tends to like put things afloat, and so let's just get right into it. Before so before we dive in, so I have a quick question for the room, and I want you guys to engage me. So how structured does your current marketing feel? So 1 being we are figuring it out as we go, and 5 being we have a documented system that runs. So please, you can just engage me in the chat box. If your answer is 1, just engage me 1, you're figuring it out. Or if you're in between, you can put like a 3 or 5, you have a documented system that runs. Okay, I'm expecting responses. Okay. Thank you so much, Marvelous, Yoma. Thank you. Okay, Samuel 3. Okay. Chinalu. Okay. Thank you so much for your responses. So that's why we are here anyway. It's to put more structure to our marketing system, right? If you have one that is already running, putting more structure to it. If you don't have one, how to build one, right? So why marketing feels inconsistent. So I would describe a pattern I've seen most times among marketing teams of like different sizes. Like there are so many things going on, the team is busy, like literally busy. There are so many campaigns that are being launched, blog posts are going out, the output is there, the growth is there, but it's not just consistent. So some months are really great, like you are hitting KPIs and it's making sense. Then other months you are like, God, I beg, So so why exactly is your marketing? Why is it feeling inconsistent? So some wins, some misses, no clear pattern of success, hard to predict growth. But the issue here is not effort, because you've done everything literally and you're wondering, okay, what's wrong? The issue here is a lack of structure, right? That's the major issue, and that's what we'll be dwelling on here. So what's the real gap? What's missing? Most teams operate on silos. Activities without connection doesn't scale. So in my opinion, I feel personally, sales, products, and marketing should have a synergy. I feel that there should be a synergy amongst the sales team, the marketing team, the product team, right? Because you can be doing everything right, right? I would use myself as an example. As a paid media, I can be doing everything right, putting in all the targeting. My creatives are up there. Click-through rate is looking good, but there's just something missing. Like conversion is not converting, and you can be doing everything right, even as a marketer and a paid media, but it could just be a bottleneck somewhere, right? It could be that even the messaging on the app is not doing the work it's supposed to do, and most persons, there's like user drop off at that phase, right? So there are three things that are usually missing. First off is structural clarity, knowing exactly how each marketing activity connects to revenue and what role is it's playing in your customer journey. A structural clarity on the activities that are going on and how it connects to revenue, how each metric connects to revenue, how each activity content connects to revenue. Then secondly, a feedback loop, like a mechanism that tells you what's working, why it's working, and how to do more of it deliberately. Then thirdly, a scalable process, like workflows and systems that let you repeat what works without it depending on the person's instinct or availability. Like things can still be afloat if one person in the team is not available in quotes, things will still run, right? So at the end of this section, you have like a framework of all three. But let's start by looking at what a complete marketing engine actually looks like. Yeah. I hope you all can still hear me, just to confirm. All right, thank you so much. Thank you. So, okay, thank you. So here's the shift. So the goal is to move from activities, like a lot of activities happening, to building an engine. And how most people or most teams operate. They are operating without a connected, sorry about that. They are operating without a connected framework that leads to isolated effort that don't compound, random, disconnected campaigns, siloed content creation, too heavy but system light. They start from zero every month. But how growth happens? Growth comes from a structured environment that compounds over time, connected moving parts, continuous learning system, and compounding results over time. Campaigns don't scale, system do. So we're going to be using the car engine analogy. So just like you have a car engine converts fuel into a forward motion. A marketing engine does the same thing. It converts your inputs like your content, your ads, your data into predictable growth. And if your marketing isn't producing consistent movement, your engine isn't built properly. And you don't scale by adding more fuel, you actually scale by fixing the engine. Right? You can't be pouring more fuel on a broken engine. That will cause wastage. Waste of budget, waste of funds. Yeah. So let's get right into the framework. Here are like the 4-layer marketing engine. So think of it as 4 layers that stack on top of each other. So what this means is that layer 1 depends on layer 2, layer 2 depends on layer 3, layer 3 depends on layer 4. So in this sense, strategy, which is like the foundation, depends on the funnel. Funnel is like your customer journey. The customer journey depends on data and insights. Then data and insight depends on process, that's the execution. So basically layer 1 is strategy, and strategy is your positioning, your message, your ID customer. Initially answers these questions: who are we? Who are we for? And why does it matter? And without clarity here, everything above is like a drift. Literally, the foundation of, so the foundation is very important, which is your strategy, right? Then the layer 2 is your funnel, your actual customer journey. That's from the moment someone first hears about you to the moment they become a paying customer. Most teams, they have funnels. Yes, we have funnel. This is our journey, but most times it's not connected. Top of funnel is supposed to connect to the middle and also to the bottom. It should not be treated as separate jobs. It should be something that's a continuous flow. Then layer 3 is your data. Sorry, a moment, please. Sorry about that. Okay, layer 3 is your data. It says, how do you know what's working? What are you measuring? And at what frequency? And what decision does it drive? So data without action is just reporting. Most times we'll get to the part where we talk about data in details, right? Data without action is reporting, and action without data is like you're guessing, So the engine needs both to flow together. The layer 4 is your process, and this is where strategy becomes execution. The workflows, the reading, the documented playbooks. That means your marketing doesn't depend on just one person. Like I said, even if one person is not around, things can still flow. And what documentation does for you is that if, like they say, the new team member, coming in, the person is not just coming in and there's no foundation, nothing to, no foundation in that sense, or a soft landing for the person. So this comes in handy where there are documents, documented what was working, what is working, so that when there's like a change in roles, or it just keeps things organized and streamlined. So these 4 layers are what we'll be building together today, and by the end you'll be able to see exactly where your current marketing is strong, where the gaps are, and what to fix first. Right. So, okay, first off, we'll be talking on strategy. So real strategy is not a document, it's a decision-making filter. Most times I see, like most times this is what we do. Let's say at the beginning of a quarter, we come together, there's a meeting, and it's strategy meeting, and we are all throwing ideas, and we have like almost a 40-page document of ideas on, okay, this is what we are going to do, this is what we are going to do. But personally, I feel a strategy should be like even a 1-page or a 2-page document. Okay, I'll give you reasons. Because it will serve as a filter, like your positioning, your ID customer, your message architecture. This will serve like a filter. That means whatever content is going out, or whatever you are doing in that space, that social space, this will just serve as a guide, and everybody's top of mind for everybody. It's not just in a document or somewhere that is just left out. Like, it's top of mind. It serves as a guide. So whenever you are posting a content, you remember that, okay, this is how my users think. This is the way this is my ID customer. This is how I should approach them, because it's more streamlined than a 40-page, or is a lot, and you can't even grasp what the strategy is all about. So first of all, the first and most important strategic decision is positioning. And positioning answers 4 questions. Who exactly is this for? Who's your target audience, your primary target audience? What problem does this solve for them? And why does it matter right now? And why specifically you are not your competitor? Right? Positioning is very important. And if your team can answer these 4 questions clearly and also consistently, your marketing will not start to pull in one direction. So everybody is in sync on what to do. It makes even the work easier and makes the work smoother, right? Then the second decision is your ideal customer. The detailed picture of who your best customer actually is. So when I mean this ICP, sometimes people just streamline into your demography. Okay, they are based here. But I'm talking about real behavioral and psychographical profile. Like what do they believe? What keeps them up at night? Those kind of deep questions. Like, what does their world look like in the week before, before they even buy from you? And this can even serve like a marketing brief, if you're able to answer these deep questions. It goes beyond, because the goal here is to make the customer the hero, right? That's the goal, to make your customer the hero. And you need to understand, like, it's as if you are going into their heads. I'll use this brand as an example. Temu. Before Temu launched in Nigeria here, felt like they actually had like a meeting, maybe with, I don't know whether they consulted Nigerians, but it felt like they went into the heads of Nigerians, because the user experience of the app is so seamless. Okay, I would say why. When you get to the checkout phase, like when you want to check out, you see that you can just easily check out by just making transfer. They even have like a partnership with, I think, OPay too. You can just go to OPay and So it was very, from what they did, it's as if they went into the heads of Nigeria, how Nigerians think, because they know that if they are able to solve like that convenience of being able to buy something internationally without you thinking about getting a dollar card, how do I go from here, then aside that, they do free delivery. So they just know that we like freebies, so they literally went into the heads of Nigerians, and they understand us well. And coupled with the fact that they have like packages, they just have a way of drawing you back into their app every now and then. So that's where understanding your customer profile, what your understanding your customer profile can do, you know. Then the third decision is your message architecture. Think of it as a tree, like one root message that stays constant and branches that adapt for different audiences, different channels, different stages of your customer journey. So the route doesn't change, but the branches can flex. What I mean is that for different channels, your messaging can change, but the route is still the same. Like, when people see your brand, they know that okay, this is it, but your messaging can change. Maybe when you're on speaking on LinkedIn, it's quite different from when you're on Instagram or even TikTok because of the kind of platform, because of the nature of the platform. Right. So I believe when these three decisions are made clearly and they are written down, like I said, not in a 40 page, maybe a one pager, it will serve as a guide for the team, like to make things even seamless and to serve as a filter. And every campaign and every piece of content, every channel decisions will now be run through this, right? So that's for the strategy component. But before we dive into the funnel, there's one very important aspect of strategy that I would also love us to talk about, which is the voice, right? Your voice is like the personality and the character that shows up constantly, right? Okay, before we get into the voice, there's something I was going to say for our messaging. Messaging is so important, it plays even, I'll use this brand as an example, Spotify. I don't know if I saw an ad before I started using Spotify. I think probably word of mouth. So probably my friend must have been like, okay, Spotify, yeah, Spotify, yeah, Spotify, yeah. And okay, maybe their end of year campaign too must have also drawn me in. But I think one thing that literally kept me in, it might sound really, really small, but when I downloaded the app and the first thing I saw was like, good morning, man. They greeted me at the time where I'm like, okay, I stand a respectful app. Right. But that's just by jokes aside, but that's just by the wayside. But seriously important how our messaging can actually do a whole lot for us, you know. So let's just get the voice, the brand voice. The brand voice is your personality and character that shows up consistently across everything you publish. So it's not, most people mix it for tone. It's not tone, right? Your tone can adapt based on the platform or based on the context, but the brand voice is consistent rather, and it's the difference between you sounding like a company and sounding like someone would not listen to. They can feel your personality even from your brand voice, and this can even help you scale. We see this play a lot in this popular brand Duolingo, right? Duolingo has this voice. They are very like playful, very funny. Even when they want to be a bit aggressive with their stuff, there's just a way you're able to like relate, and it just feels like, okay, these guys, they're so funny, they're so playful. And do you know that their brand voice has fetched them even a whole lot of conversion, right? And that's literally saving on even your acquisition cost, because you're not even spending in this case. You just get your voice, and because of how you sound, that alone can draw in people and can help you scale, right? So a practical brand voice document or consists of 4 to 6 core traits, like re example of how it sounds, how you sound, and also a clear boundary of how you do not sound. In as much as you want to sound this way, how do you not sound? That's very important too. Yeah. So we get to the funnel. Funnel is like the second layer. So most marketing team, I know funnel is one word we marketers use all the time, like we marketers. Funnel, this is my funnel, building funnel. Okay, what's your okay? I know most marketing team have funnel, but they don't have one funnel, right? When I mean don't have one funnel, is that this the funnel is not connecting and it's supposed to connect. Like your top of funnel content team is supposed to connect to your middle of funnel email program and supposed to connect to the bottom of funnel sales team, right? That's why I keep saying that there should always be a synergy amongst the content team, even the product team, the sales team, right? So you're always in sync, you know. And this is not so building one connected funnel means treating the customer journey as a single continuous journey. That's at the top of the funnel. Your job here is awareness. Like, you are reaching people who have a problem, but they don't know that your solution exists. These are literally the top of funnel. And the content here should speak to the problem, not your product. Should talk more about the problem they are facing. If possible, call them out. Freelancers, this, that. So a fintech brand I worked with, we're very keen on call outs. Like, it feels like when you call them, they can easily, like, it hits them more, because when you call them by the problem they are facing, call their profession, it hits more, like, so the top of the funnel is majorly like, getting people, they're not talking about your product here, talking about the problem they are facing. Feels like make them sing, make the customer sing. So it could be blog posts, social content, video, podcast. Then the middle of the funnel, your job here is consideration and nurture. So this is where someone that already knows about you and deciding whether you are the right fit. Something like your email sequence, case studies, even comparison content. So I will tell you what comparison marketing can do for you, right? So the fintech I worked with, I mentioned earlier, one of our best campaigns that we had running for a while was actually comparison content. So what we did was that we understand that people like to somehow just feel like they are saving a little more, So we compared a lot. We compared sorry, we compared ourselves to the competitor, but not so prevalent like Senoa. Senoa was just all over the place, I know. But ours was even a bit funny, but at the same time, we were able to pass the message. We didn't even talk about just fees, because that, okay, if fees are lower, people want to come. We even talked about customer service. We talked about how our onboarding is, and we did it with like really funny and relatable content. And guess what? That was like one of our best campaigns. And we had a campaign running for a while. The numbers we got from that campaign was really, and even the engagement, aside numbers, let's even look at engagement. It shows that, okay, people even relate with this kind of content. So I would advise you, try comparison content today. I believe it would give you even a lot of numbers. It might not be as obvious or prevalent as Senua, but it works actually. Comparison content does numbers, and it's been proven, right? So at the bottom of the funnel, your job is conversion and activation. Something like free trials, demos, free consultation, right? Strong call to action too. So the key is that these stages are designed to connect. The top of funnel content should naturally lead someone towards a middle of funnel offer. Then the middle of funnel nurture should build towards a bottom of funnel conversion. So there should be no dead ends, right? There should be clear, like, next step. This is what you do after here. After you click here, you go here, and it should be very clear, so you don't lose the customer, the journey. Okay. So we're talking about the third layer, the content. Content is fuel that moves people through that most people through your funnel. Like content is for that most people through your funnel. Most teams are working on content treadmill, but I would advise you work on content flywheel. So what do I mean here? The exhausting cycle of constant content creation with no long-term assets. Like you're having a lot of random content, constant draining creation, no long-term value. You're starting from zero every time, and you're focused on volume over impact. But I would say a flywheel, a system where one idea spawns multiple outputs, creating extended impact. What this means is that you can have like a content pillar and you have branches. So there's one idea, but there are several content under that same idea. What that will do for you is that will improve your authority. So when people are searching for stuff related to this, because of how you've created content on that pillar, like on that idea over time, right? You are top of mind, you are top of the search bar because you've created content on that thing repetitively. Sorry. So that's what that will do for you. Cluster content supports the main pieces and compound traffic too. Right. So yeah. So layer three, the third layer of the marketing engine is your data and insight. So I will tell you a secret, even working as a paid media specialist, I feel personally that the most searched after, even if it's not even written explicitly, but the most searched after marketers are marketers that are actually good with data and interpretation. I've seen it play severally where you don't, aside you just reporting on a weekly basis, but you can interpret these metrics. You can tell me why my click-through rate is this level, and okay, if it's on this level, this is it. Those kind of information, right? So data and insights. So like I said, searched after marketers are those that can interpret data, right? So I would also suggest that while you're doing marketing, you should be keen about data and insight. If you're able to interpret data, I believe you will have an edge, big edge in the market, even the international market, because data is so important. Like it's like the bedrock of marketing. Yeah. So and one thing you should focus on, you can't scale what you can see. You move from data to insight to action, right? And one thing, and across all stages, I feel you should always define when you are going through your data, your metrics, your board, your dashboard. One thing you should always define is your North Star metric. What's a North Star metric? It's like the single number that reflects your true sustainable growth, right? It tells you, that number will tell you if it's consistently going up, and tell you that everything is working, right? For some persons now, their metric is okay. They have like daily active customers coming in, some okay, they have bookings, every day. That is like their North Star metric. It shows that okay, if that is going up, it shows that okay, things are working, you know. So very important. And aside that, we have leading indicators, we have lagging indicators, right? So leading indicators are the indicators that um I will tell you what already happened. The lagging ones will tell you what has happened, and most times it cannot be changed. So these indicators are already revenue, your closed deals, your customer acquisition. These ones cannot be changed, right? But the leading ones that can be are the ones that can be changed, that can be altered over time. Like when you see your CTR rates low, you can know that okay, people are not engaging with my content as much. My creatives are, I think I need to work on my creative, right? Then if you see the leading indicators could be content engagement rate, even your email open rate too, right? This metric will give you more time to respond because you can easily alter them by taking action, right? But for the lagging one, that one is already cannot be changed because that's gotten to the end of the whole journey, right? So this metric that matter most depend on the metric that matter most depend on where you are most times early stage, they focus on traffic quality, conversion rate, and the cost of acquisition, right? Are the right people finding them? Are they doing what they hoped for? Then the growth stage, most times they connect marketing activities to revenue, like what channel is generating the pipeline, what content is influencing these things. Then the scale stage is more of efficiency and retention. Now they're focused on, okay, retaining customers, like what's the customer's lifetime value to acquisition cost? Are existing customers expanding? And how much, what is their ROAS, return on ad spend? Those are the kind of metrics they will be dealing with at that stage. And like I said, across all stages, you should always define your star metric, right? If you're in the early stage, you should know that, okay, my primary focus here is um, conversion rate, cost of acquisition. If you're in the growth stage, you know that, okay, my north star here is the revenue, your revenue, like your. Then if you're in the scaling stage, it's like retention. So always define the north star, because this will tell you, okay, this is the business at this stage. The business is growing and it's sustainable. Yeah. Okay, now to the third um, layer of the engine is the feedback loop. So data becomes powerful when it feeds back into your decision, right? And they're like, for how growth becomes repeatable without this loop. You repeat mistakes. With it, you achieve continuous improvement. So a working feedback loop has these four stages. You observe, you interpret, you act, and you document. So first you observe your metric. What are your metric actually telling you right now? Not what you are hoping for. What is actually happening right now. You look at the leading, like I told you, the leading indicators are the ones you can change. Where are people engaging? Where are they drop-offs? Then where is the metric building and where is it stalling? Secondly, you interpret, what does this data mean? The step requires judgment, not just analysis. Like, what does this data mean? And also, I feel you should resist the urge to jump straight to conclusion. First, understand the cost. What is the cost? Like, what is the meaning of this data before you now act? So based on what you have observed and you have interpreted, you make a specific change. Like, the change has to be specific. It has to be measurable. It has to be time bound. Like, it's not just, okay, not a vague change like, I will improve content quality resolution. It could be specific, like, I'm going to shift 20% of maybe the LinkedIn ad budget to my email nurture, if that is what's giving you numbers. Like, so after you have observed, you interpreted, then you act, and your action should be specific. Then fourthly, you document. Most times we just take action, we don't document. Right? You document, you have to write down what you have changed, why you changed it, and what you're expecting to happen. So with this, you can always like measure your result. Then you measure what actually happened. This document is how individuals' insight becomes institutional knowledge, right? Documentation is actually very important. Most times we just do other things aside documentation. It's so important. And with this loop, when this loop runs on a when it runs consistently, right, your marketing doesn't just run, it learns, right? And that's the difference between a marketing team and a marketing engine. You know. So okay, I'll engage us here a bit. So we're talking about the growth bottleneck diagnosis. So how do you diagnose what the issue is, at different stages? Okay. So growth is not just about getting users, it's about getting more value from each user, right? And you don't fix growth by doing more. I feel you fix growth by fixing the stage where users are dropping off. Because I think that's the most important for us. So acquisition check. How do you check for acquisition? Are people finding you? If you have a low traffic and you have low clicks and you have low reach, right? It shows that your bottleneck here, the problem here is acquisition. So all these things I'm saying, low traffic, low clicks, low reach, are things data that you use to measure. Okay, it shows that my acquisition here, the problem I'm having is acquisition. Therefore, conversion, our visitors signing up. Okay, you're having high number of traffic. People are, yes, people are engaging with your content, engaging with your ad, but people are not signing up. The bottleneck here is conversion. Then our visitors signing up, but they are not taking action. Like the action could be, okay, they have to like use your app to make payment, or if they are signing up and they are not, there's no usage, it shows that there's an activation problem. And if there usage and they are not coming back, like there's no return visit, it shows that there's a retention problem. So there's a brand I worked with, like helped with their ads, I think for about a year. And at the earlier stage, we had this problem, um, conversion problem. Most persons experience conversion problem. Conversion problem is like really one of the most common problems people experience, right? So we had a number of persons. So we had activation problem, not conversion problem, because we had people signing up. We had people coming in, people signing up, but they were not taking action. They were not using the app. They were not making payment. It was a fintech, by the way. They were not doing what we wanted them to do, like, make that first deposit or stuff like that. Right. So what really helped us in that aspect was that there were a number of strategies we had to do, aside building, because we know that anything fintech, money is involved. You have to build trust and, get people to start making decisions, taking action with your app, or on your app rather. Right. So what we did was that we had a lot of testimonial videos, like having people that are using the product, talk about their experience, and with that, it brought in a number of conversion, number of people making use of the app. Another thing we did was referral. Referral just has a way of also helping even in this stage, activation stage, having people to bring in other persons, right? Then for the keeping people sorry, the retention we have for retention, another thing we did was that aside referral, right? There were a number of times we had other seasons where they were just like freebies. Another thing you can do is to get freebies. And firstly, one thing we were very keen about from the onset that helped us with our traffic and also our conversion was how clear our messaging was. Because most times, I think messaging is something, I feel messaging should be very clear, simple, and very easy to understand. We're very clear on the messaging. It ran even from our website. When you see our ad, it's so clear on how you can open an account, how you can set up, you know, everything. So at different stages, when you discover what your bottleneck is, from there you can now build a strategy that would help solve the problem. So just to clarify, I hope you all can still hear me. I hope you can still hear me, please. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. So okay. So just for a moment, think about your marketing in 30 seconds. Just think about it and which one at the moment sounds like a situation. Is it a traffic problem? Is it your bottleneck traffic? Is it conversion? Is it that people are signing up but they are not using the app? Is it an activation problem? Is it a retention problem? You know, and that right there is your bottleneck, and that's a good place to start. You don't start by fixing everything. Okay, you start by fixing what is broken at one at a time, right? And most times the issue is always like at the bottom of the funnel, you know So, okay, let's get to the process and scale. Now that we've talked about, this is like the fourth layer of the engine, process and scaling. We've talked about four layers today. We've talked about strategy. We've talked about funnel. We've talked about data and now process. So let me tell you what happens when all four are working together, because it's different from what most people actually expect. Most people think that scaling means doing more campaigns, more content, more channels, more spend. But scaling a marketing engine does not mean doing more of everything. It actually means doing more of what is working, you know. And when your strategy is solid, you will stop debating on what to say and start debating on how to say it better. We talked about strategy, we talked about positioning, your customer profile, your messaging, right? When your funnel is connected, you stop asking, why aren't people converting? And you start asking, what stage can we now optimize? And what stage can we optimize, right? When your funnel is connected, the top of funnel connected to the middle and to the bottom, right? And also when your data layer is running, you will not stop guessing, okay, this is what is working. Oh, I think this is what is working. But when you have that running, you will know exactly what is running and what is happening and how to scale it. And when your process layer is built, you will not stop depending on just you will have a system, you will not be depending on system, right? And in as much as when you have a running system, it keeps things afloat, you know. And that's what marketing engine that grows looks like. It's not bigger, it's not smarter, but it's more consistent, right? So, and that's the actual driver of your growth. So what scaling is not and what scaling is: more campaigns, no, is more of what already works. More content volume, no, is better operational efficiency. More ad spend, no, is less reliance on individuals. Working harder, no, it's strategy execution. So strategy without process is intention, and process without strategy is chaos. So, lastly, I would like to show you this action plan so that even as I've gone through every aspect of the marketing engine, this will give you like a guide. So if you already have an engine that is working for you, or you have a broken one, this can help you amend your engine. But if you don't have one, this would also help you to be able to build one, right? Must one your foundation. Now you have to establish a solid strategy, right? Strategy that will serve as a guide, not just a 40-page strategy that is just sitting somewhere, but will serve as a guide for every member of the team, right? Then your month two, your connection, build your funnel and your data and even your insights. And month three, a system that will keep this marketing afloat at all times, right? So lastly, my takeaway here is growth doesn't come from doing more, it comes from building system that works repeatedly. Thank you so much for listening. Any questions? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ose. That was an amazing section, quite insightful, and I'm sure every person on this call got one or two on how they can scale their strategy for more growth in their respective brand or businesses or companies they work for. So we are currently on the Q&A section. Please, if we have questions, let's drop them in the comment sections, or if you like to speak, you have to use your emoji. You can raise your hand. Oh, awesome. We have Chiamaka. Chiamaka, please, you can unmute yourself and ask your question now.
Okay, so I was a bit confused in the the North Star metric and the comparison content. I don't know if you can please shed more light on that.
Also, did you get that? Because I'm not sure I heard what Chiamaka said. Can you come again, Chiamaka?
Okay, I said I was a bit confused in the North Star metric part and the comparison content part. So I don't know if you can shed more light on that area, please. Thank
Okay, great. I must say you can go on, please. You are mute in case you are speaking.
Oh, sorry. I've been sorry about that. Uh, okay, so the North Star is like the single metric that tells you that everything is working. That means if this particular metric is going up or going down, okay, this is the interpretation. Take for instance, I said some persons now they are top like their North Star metric. Let me use Spotify for example. I know Spotify top star metric is like okay, active daily users. Users are coming in every day and making use of the app, right? That's their North Star metric. That means if that is happening, it shows that, okay, things are going well. But if that is not happening, okay, things are going south. So they know what to do from there. So that would be like a guide for them. That's what the North Star metric means. I don't know if I've answered your question, Chiamaka.
you. Yeah. So for like a let me just say a buying and okay, let me say like you're using fintech as example. For your fintech brand now, what would be their North Star metric?
Okay, for a fintech app, I feel there will be active users too. Like not just sign-ups, people using the app. Okay, let's say fintech, normal OP now. Let's use OP for example. OP now, people using the app, making payments, electricity bills, those kind of, taking action on the app, that would be their North Star. So they're active. Like that's what it means. I think that would be their North Star.
Okay.
Yeah,
In other words, the main thing that drives let's say revenue or
exactly,
users.
exactly. The main thing that drives revenue. Yeah.
Thank you very
Okay.
much for that part.
Okay. All right. I think your second question, you talked about comparison marketing.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was your question around that? Just to
Yeah, I don't know. I was a bit confused. Well, I was like, I'm currently understanding it as you comparing yourself to your competitor and then like pitching yourself to a potential client. So I don't know if that's the right
okay.
idea of it.
Okay, so for the comparison marketing, you compare yourself with your competitor. Because to be
Yeah.
honest, there's nothing new under the sun. What you are doing, there are a lot of persons doing it. If you want to talk about fintech now, every now and then there's just a new fintech. So what most persons try to do is that okay, this is what we do differently. But how do you now send out that message? So that's where that comparison marketing comes in. So it could just be that okay, let me even use a Buku for example. Buku uses to me Buku their overall strategy is it's comparison marketing. You see how they even compare themselves with market, like the normal market. They tell you that if you buy this from us, you are going to save. You see, that's what they do. They compare themselves with their competitors. They even compare themselves with local market and tell you that if you buy this thing from us, you will save this amount. So that's like comparison marketing. So how can you different ways you can use it is that you can be very a bit funny about it. It could even be your customer service. There's a way there was one of the content I told you about, I mentioned about comparison. We talked about how our customer service we respond in few. There was a way we made it a bit funny, and at the same time it was witty, right? We respond really. What about your? So we added a little bit of pidgin, and it was very relatable to our audience, and they got the memo, right? So I think comparison marketing is something that converts a lot. Yeah. So I don't know if I've answered your
Okay.
question, Chama.
In other words, your competitive advantage. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Your competitive advantage, portraying it in
Okay.
different ways, and yeah.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Chiamaka.
All right, great. Thank you. So we have Mistura. Please, Mistura, you can ask your question now. And then we'll take Adekunle's question and that'll be enough for the night.
Okay.
Mistura King, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good evening, everyone.
And
Okay, so my question goes thus. You made mention of rely less on individuals when you're talking about what scaling actually works. What scaling
okay.
actually is about.
Yes,
So
like
please,
having it. Okay. Okay. Sorry.
what do you mean? What do you mean by that? Like relying less on individual. Can you please explain it
Okay.
more?
So what I mean relying. Are you done? Just to
Yes,
confirm.
I am.
Okay. So when I mean relying, I didn't say relying less per se. I just said having like a system, a documented system where things are afloat. So even if someone is not around, you know, you can easily tell, okay, this is where we are at. This is what I'm supposed to be doing in respect to, okay, you don't just have random content going out without a guide or a filter, So that's what I meant.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you too.
All right, great. And then we have one final question in the chat box that says, what would the North Star for an e-commerce brand be?
Okay, the North Star for
Yes,
e-commerce, if I get you correctly.
yes, an e-commerce brand.
Okay, so I feel the North Star will still be like active users, but in this case, you're having people visit the site and also like check out. So not just coming on the site, but taking action,
Mm.
check out. That's why you see Temu, they literally pursue you everywhere. So if you add stuff to carts, they will pursue you to your email and tell you that you've added this thing to cart. Do you know that you can also add this and get it for 0 naira? The way you get there, you realize that you need to play a game that would. So they just want you to keep coming to their app. They just want to see you there. So I believe that that's like their North Star or an e-commerce North Star.
Exactly. I mean, in one word, it's basically conversion for e-commerce.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, all right, amazing. Thank you so much for the amazing section.
Thank
Um,
you.
yes. All right, everyone.